everyone, and welcome back to Small Screen Sagas. I'm your host, Nicole, and today I'll be talking about the show from Season 3, Episode 3, entitled Mousetrap. Another phenomenal episode. We kind of left off with some characters we're sort of concerned about. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and as always, we are going to stick with sort of the smaller storylines and then go to the bigger ones, go from there. If it's your first time listening, I just sort of talk about the show as a whole and do scene by scene, but in order of characters and almost every scene. But it's only about 20 to 30 minute long podcast. So here we go. We start off with Victor. Well, we're going to start off with Victor. He's measuring the distance again. We saw him doing this last season with Ethan. He's still now doing his steps, measuring the distance of the trees. I thought he was measuring it from like where the trees were from Colony House, because he said last season that the trees have moved, but maybe he actually has something. Well, I guess he did. He had something that he buried, just like Father Kotri, because Victor later on we see him with his suitcase. So he's measuring his steps here to find what he's looking for, which is a suitcase. We do not learn what's in this suitcase, but I'm pretty sure we'll find out next week. The only other time we see Victor in this episode is when he goes to Sara's house with that suitcase, asks if she has extra bedspread, and he's like, okay, good. We're going to build a fort, and I'm going to tell you a story. One thing to note is Sara is still trying to fix that ornament that her and her brother bought at the dollar store and has so much meaning to her, and Kenny broke last season once he found out that she was responsible for his dad's death. I've seen some theories on that, like if Sara's putting the ornament back, what that has to do with the town. And, you know, I think that sounds crazy. I think it has nothing to do with the town. But I thought the same thing about Fatima and her baby. I'm like, why would anything be wrong with the baby? It has nothing to do with the town. So I'm not going to go too far on that theory. It could be real. It could have something to do with town. Who knows? If you recall last season, if you listened, I said that did not look like a dollar store ornament. But now I don't know, because now they're using the word ornament versus the dollar store, I believe, does have like the little ones that you can shake. And I forgot, like the globe, and there's water or something, some liquid in there. I think they have those, and they do have some nicer ornaments. But I don't know. This one looks like a very hefty ornament. And I don't think she's going to be able to put it back together. And I do think she's also wasting her time trying to do so. Like, keep a piece and just keep that piece and remember, like, this used to be the ornament from my brother. So that's all we got. I am curious what you all think Victor is going to tell. I hope he tells a very clear, easy to understand story, and that it's not like okay, now we have to interpret what he means by this story. I hope it's like clear whatever he tells her. And if he has more answers than like, okay, so this is how you get out of town, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna be really pissed if he tells her some story like that, but we'll see. Next, we are going to talk about Jim. We left off in the last episode with Jim getting that phone call from quote unquote Thomas. We know it was not Thomas. Jim's sitting here though, like arguing with the person on the phone. Like, stop calling me that. You're not my son. I know you're messing with me. Jim, why are you even wasting your time talking to him? Like, stop it. Like, you're going to make yourself go crazy. But then the guy or the boy goes, you should be watching Julie and Ethan, you know, like it's going to get later. But I'm like, so, that was kind of creepy and kind of scary. So Jim runs out there. We see him. He runs. He's fine, yelling for them. Boyd's looking at him like, dude, is everything okay? Like, chill. And he's acting like he's really on high alert. And I don't know why, once again, no one tells each other stuff. You know, Jade's not telling what he's seeing. Boyd's not telling how he talks to Father Kotri. And now here Jim is getting these phone calls sort of threatening his kids, and he's not telling anyone. And Fatima, you know, she only told Tilly because Tilly caught her. Elgin, too, he's not really saying everything that's going on with him. But he doesn't tell anyone what the phone call was about and why he was, like, so freaked out with his kids being outside this close to dark. But I'm also going to criticize Ethan and Julie here. You know, I've seen a lot of people talk crap about the Matthews family as a whole. I've never been on the I hate Matthews family train. But in this instance, after everything that's just happened, Ethan and Julie, they're like, Jim is screaming your name, like freaking out. And y'all don't come running and go, what, Dad? Like, what is it? They're just like, yeah, we heard we're feeding the animals. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Stop acting like you guys don't know shit is real out here. Don't just act like you're just, oh, dad's being dad again. Like, you know shit is real out here, so stop acting like you don't. And I just didn't appreciate how they were just acting like they weren't even scared. Like, come on, the dad's yelling your name frantically, telling you to get indoors. Your mom has disappeared. You guys seen so much. You were just attacked the other night. Come on. Even if you're kids, you have to know better than this. Then we get another scene with Ethan and Jim and his kids. It's him and Ethan. I think he's making lunch. And Ethan goes like, yeah, who's going to bury her? And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, who's going to bury mom? And Jim gets so pissed off. Like, don't talk like that. It's like, calm down. This little boy's asking some real questions. He's like, well, will the bugs start eating her? Or will somebody just come upon her body and not know who she is? And it's all bones. Like, if we don't go out and bury her and find her body. And Jim, instead of trying to have like a age appropriate conversation with Ethan, go, hey, I understand you're scared. We don't know if your mom is dead. We don't know if she made it out. We don't know if she's out hiding somewhere. But if she's not, we will go look for her and see if we can find her, and we can find her body. But we already did that, and we didn't find her. So that gives me hope that she might still be alive. I don't know. How he handled it was very wrong, and even Jolie got like pissed at him. Like, damn, like you need to do better job. And then right after they walk away, the phone starts ringing again, but Jim this time is smart enough to not answer it. So I think what the monsters or what the town is trying to do, I think they're trying to break all of them. Like, they're doing it with Jay, they're doing it with Boyd, they're doing it with Jim. Like, now his wife is gone. They're going to make him feel like his kids can be next, which they could be. So I do think they're all slowly starting to break, and they're definitely going to break because they're not talking to each other. All right, let's talk about Fatima. All right, we saw Fatima eating the poisonous or the raw food. Or not even raw food. It was damaged. It was not poison, but it was gross. It was bad food, right? Bad veggies. And now we see her this week. You know, someone's cooking up a good steak. It looked delicious, and she's like, yo, they divvied up the rest of the meat, the cow, but the smell made her sick, and she went outside and she finds that rotten food and starts eating it, like right there. She like looks around, makes sure no one's there. It's like, but you're right in front of the house. Like, you're about 50 feet in front of the house. Like, anyone can be looking out the window and see you. But she's eating the raw food. Tilly catches her and she runs off. Cut to they're back in the house now, so she is able to get in the house. I know there was those theories, hey, the door didn't lock, did not open for her. And it's possible the door was just locked at that time. It's possible the door was wide open and she was able to get back in. I do think there's some truth to that. Like, will she eventually be able to get back in? Is she turning into a monster? And I feel like she almost said that to Tilly. Because when she was talking to Tilly in this next scene, and she's like, you know how this house is? People are going to think, and they're like, and Tilly's like, they're going to think what? And then she's like, something's wrong with my baby. And I'm like, no, like, come on, dig a little deeper. They're going to think what, Fatima? What are they going to think? But Tilly tells Fatima some bullshit story about how she used to lick the inside of eggshells when she was pregnant. Lasted 3 weeks, and then it stopped. This too will pass. I get it, Tilly. I don't know what to think of you. No one trusts you in the real world. Everyone thinks you're up to something. But I will say, it doesn't matter that you were licking the inside eggshells. One weird, nasty thing does not negate another weird, nasty thing. So, like, I get it. You trying to make her feel comfortable. And I talked about like symptoms of pregnancy and all that. Like, yeah, but this is not a this is not. You don't read what to expect when expecting, and they go, you might eat rotten food. Like, that's not in the book anywhere, So I get Tilly trying to make her more comfortable, but I'm like, nah, Tilly, this isn't it. Like, this girl, and y'all in a weird town. Like, this is not regular life where you can treat it like, oh, she just has some weird pregnancy cravings. Like, if I saw someone there doing that, I think I would act much differently and be a little bit more judgy than I would if I saw someone in the real world doing it. But even in the real world, someone's eating I keep saying rotten vegetables, I would be concerned for the child. Like, yo, you're eating rotten vegetables, that can hurt your baby. Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? And I would have to tell someone, and especially if I saw it in this town. And that's when Fatima says she can't talk to anyone about it, and what if something's wrong with her baby? So Tilly's like, hey, let's find out what's wrong with your baby. So they're about to cut to, they're in another scene, and Fatima and Tilly are about to get together, and Fatima's like, I know those aren't tarot cards. She's like, yeah, like, we're going to find out what's wrong with your baby. I love that Fatima went off. She's like, I confide in you. I told you some real serious shit. Get away from me. Like, now you playing games? You got tarot cards? And I appreciated her saying that, like, understanding, like, girl, I confide in you, and now you playing games with me. Like, you going to do a little psychic eval with me? And Tilly goes like, yo, calm down. Like, I got these tarot cards after my husband had hospice and died. And then the lady that gave them to me, the tarot cards that were told me that I was dying. And I'm like, why would I want those tarot cards? But either way, she's like, no, I'm serious. And before they can, like, look at the cards, a crow comes in, like, bumps into the window, crashes into the window, and finally crashes inside and is just dead. And we don't actually go back to this colony house after that to see exactly how they handled that. Like, how are they going to fix that window? Do you just put up a board? Because we saw Jade broke a window / door in the bar, and then he starts staying with Boyd. But I wonder how they handle it now here at the colony house. Like, you put up just a cardboard and it counts as a window? Like, how does that work? Is everyone now in jeopardy at the colony house? I wonder how that works. So we'll see. And I wonder why it hasn't happened before. Like, I'm surprised the monsters haven't done anything like that before, or threw rocks in the window, or I don't know. I wonder why they haven't done anything else. All right, let's discuss Boyd next. I know he usually closes things out, but his stuff was somewhat big. I mean, I have a couple pages of notes for him, but it wasn't the most interesting part of the story, I don't think, this week. So Boyd, he's discussing catching a monster with Ellis. They say they need to learn about these monsters. We have to take chances now, which is ironic because if you watch The Walking Dead, Rick, like a famous line from Rick is, I don't take chances no more. And here we have Boyd saying, we got to take chances. And then that's when Donna comes in, and Ellis spills the beans right away on Boyd's plan. And Donna calls bullshit. She's like, that's a crazy plan. It doesn't make any sense. And, like, what would you do? And Boyd's like, well, we'll get them to talk. And Donna's like, how? We've shot them before. And they just smiled at us. So now what? You're going to get them to talk? Like, how are you even strong enough to, I don't know. We've seen them kill a cow by scratching it. Like, just, they scratched Miss Tinchin alive to death by scratching her. I don't get what Boyd's plan is. I feel like it's reckless. I understand wanting to know more and everything, and maybe I'll eat these words in a few weeks. I do feel like it's a reckless plan, though. I don't feel like this is a good idea. And with Donna saying, like, yo, he has a baby on the way, he has other things to think about now, and Ellis seeming like he's not on board, it doesn't seem like Boyd is going to have this plan at least right away, depending on what Randall tells him, because he did go see Randall at the end. So we see Boyd, he's preparing some type of wood, he's talking to Father Khatri. Turns out it's a memory board. I guess he wants to list all the people they've lost here, and Father Khatri's telling him, like, yo, it's a dumb plan. Like, and they said they were going to try to break you, and to me, they succeeded, because the old Boyd would have never even thought to do this plan, so they must have broken you. And Father Khatri's making sense, but at the same time, we can't trust Father Khatri. He's not there. Either he's a complete figment of Boyd's imagination, which it appeared that he was, because it cuts to, and it shows Boyd as if he's talking to himself, or he's not a figment of Boyd's imagination and only Boyd can see him. I don't know. But he was speaking some facts. He said, don't make my death or Tinchin's death about you. Like, people die here. It's a part of what happens. We're not going to say, oh, this happened because of Boyd. Like, we would all be dead probably if it wasn't for you bringing the talisman back. Whether he's good or bad, he's making sense. Then we get Bacta and Ethan. They're cleaning the diner, and Boyd comes in, and she's tripping. She's like, how is it that a random nursery rhyme that my grandma used to sing to me, somehow played a part here in this world? Like, she's starting to realize, how am I tied to this? I obviously am. If this random nursery rhyme, it's not like a traditional nursery rhyme, is here in this town, was, had to do with this town. And she's asking, she's like, is it going to get worse? Does it get worse? And Boyd's like, I don't know. And he's like, we just need to find a way to go home. And that's when Ethan comes back and goes, yo, there may not be a way home. Miss Tinchin thought she was going home. My mom thought she was going home. And they're like, yo, he was just speaking facts. Like, stop saying we're going home. Ethan has lost. They've broken Ethan. Poor little boy. They've broken him. He does not believe they'll go home anymore. He's seen too much to realize, oh, we'll go home after this or whatever. He knows that shit's going to go bad. And no, we may all die here. Which is sad, but at the same time, you would think when that whole scene with Jim yelling for them, he would have come faster. Like, he realized shit is real there. But, But the last part on this scene I'll say is when Boyd's like, we're not going to give up on your mother. And Ethan's like, maybe you should. Mic drop. I was like, damn. Poor little Ethan. By the time Tabitha gets back or whatever is happening with her, Ethan's going to be a whole different kid. He can be like, oh, you're back. Okay, well, I already mourned you. I thought you dead. I thought you died, Mom. Nah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And then the last thing we get with Boyd is he goes to Randall's bus, which cicadas are attacking Randall. But then when Boyd gets on, he doesn't see anything. He goes, hey, are you all right? And Randall's like, yeah, I'm just tripping or whatever. And that's when Boyd says, hey, can we switch accommodations for tonight? I want to watch these motherfuckers come out. Because, I'm ready to get my revenge on them. And I have a feeling that Randall's just crazy enough to be like, yo, we can both stay in this bus because I'm all in with you. Hopefully he might even say what he saw when he was sleeping, because it doesn't seem like Muriel has said it or Julia said it yet. All right, let's now talk Kenny, Kristi, Jade, Dale. First starts off Jade saying that the weird statues must be from people that ward off bad spirits. Because as you remember, Kenny is taking them all to go back to where him and Jim found those weird statues. But more importantly, they found all those vegetables just growing out of the ground. I would like to also mention there was a lake right there. You would think maybe they might try to go fishing of some sort or something. But maybe they tried that in the past. So when they see those weird statues, that's Jade's reason. Like, oh, these are people from that used to live here. It wards off bad spirits. Dale is like, this is creepy. I like him. So cut to Dale and crew. They're talking shit about Jade not helping. Jade's like right there. He can hear him. he comes for like half a second to start helping and then gets mad. I was like, fuck it. Like, y'all don't even know what I've seen here. Y'all don't know what I've been through here and what I've seen, what happened. And I'm like, Jade, tell him. Yeah, if the only thing they experience is being the monsters outside and they haven't seen anything else crazy, tell them. Because right now what was the whole point of coming if you weren't going to help? Like, all you had to say was, I'm not mentally able. I'm going crazy. And they probably would have excused it. But you sitting there with them, not helping, makes things awkward. At the same time, Dale is not like the best sound of reason either for this type of situation. He's always complaining. But Jade storms off, and then he sees like a dead man who's like tied to a tree. There's red rocks there, and the man starts grabbing him. But when Dale comes, like, yell at him, like, hey, you can't leave us. You can't leave us with all the work. There's no one there, and Jade's kind of like let loose. And so that's the end of that scene, at least right now. But I don't know why Jade didn't tell anyone what was going on. And I get him saying, like, oh, no, hell no, I have to leave here. I'm seeing dead bodies. I feel there's a weird statue. I gotta go. I get it. Cut to, we see Kenny starting to be a little mean Kenny. But he's short with Kristi. He tells her, like, yo, you need to go pick some fruit, da-da-da. Because she's trying to console him. He's like, yo, I'm glad I got a friend, good. But we're here to do a job. Pick some fruit. He's not like being friendly, nice Kenny that we known since like season 1. He's really short with her, and he don't really want to hear any of that. But at that same time, while they're talking, because she's like, someday I'm trying to be a good friend. He's like, okay, be a good friend while you picking the fruit, like while you're doing the job. We got jobs to do. But while they're sitting there talking, that's when they see Jade run off, and Dale's following him, and they talk to Jade, and he's like, I'm going back to town. Like, I can't be here. I'm freaking out. And they're like, you're never going to make it back in town. You probably can't even make it to, like, the halfway point where I guess there is a talisman hut. And he's like, I don't care. I'll run. And Kenny's like, fuck it. If he's going to run, let him run. But Kristi runs after him. And that's when we see her foot get stuck in a trap, which I guess maybe that's why it's called Mousetrap. They're just a mouse. These people are just mouse to the monsters. But we see an even darker side to Kenny here. Because Jade is trying to figure everything out. He's like, oh my gosh. And Kenny's like, get the fuck off here. Get the fuck out of here. Like, just cussing. He's like, I'm just trying to help. And Kenny didn't want to hear it. He's like, just go. Like, we don't need your help. And old Kenny would have never talked to anyone like that. Like, he just wouldn't have. So I'm like, no, they're breaking Kenny. Like, they've broken Kenny probably. His mom and his dad has died there. He probably is alone or feels alone. And that's when Jade goes and he grabs a stick from the statues. And Dale was like, this is a bad idea. And I like at that point, Kristi was telling Kenny, because it doesn't look like she may be able to get loose. And he's like, she's like, no matter what happens here, you will never be alone. And I thought that was just so sweet. And that friendship, that connection that they still have, it was good to see. Like, even though I know Mario's there and so much shit has happened, like, she's just kind of reminding Kenny, like, before all this, we were friends. Like, we were really good friends. So just remember that. Like, you still have a friend here. You still have family. You still have people who love and care for you. Well, they're able to get her free, and they're able to set her foot. And at that same time, Jade now sees that ghost man that was, like, tied to a tree. But now he's just, like, kind of there, and he's drinking blood from a skull. Now, I saw a theory online, like, maybe when he took those sticks or whatever from the statues, that released the monsters. That's why the man was first tied to the tree, and then afterwards, he's loosey-goosey. I don't know. Before I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know now. I don't know. I'm just worried for them because they're obviously going to have to stay there overnight. I mean, they have several other people with them, several other extras that keep changing episode to episode. So they better keep those same extras from this episode because I paid attention. So we'll see what happens next week. But I think we're in for a scary night. I think we are. And they can't run because Kristi's leg is hurt. All right, we are ending it with Tabitha because that was just a damn good ending. Almost, to me, better than the last season 2's finale ending, showing that she woke up in a hospital. But we get her. She's talking to Henry, who is Victor's dad, about how she was able to get out of the town. And, she hears the bottles. They go outside, and she's like, oh, these, I've seen something like this, not the same thing. And that's when she starts describing, like, the faraway tree. And he's like, so you were to teleport. And he's like, well, this is a replica of the original tree, which is in a park. She's like, what? And we're like, what? Take me to that tree. Like, how far is it? He's like, 30, 40 minutes. She's like, take me to that tree right now. Like, da-da-da. I think I need to go there. And he says, well, technically, yeah. Because the place where this tree is where they dropped acid. And you can say this tree is where it all started. So once they get in the car, a song Blue is playing, and she's me like, whoa. And he's like, what? He's like, this was me, my husband's song. So it's already like, okay. Me, my husband's song is playing on the radio at the same time that we get in here. Then when he tells her, hey, look for a snack, there might be something glove department. She finds the bracelet, the same bracelet from, like, I think season 1 that she found at the diner. And she even thought at the time of the diner, how is it here? Because I never brought it here. Like, this is my bracelet that I lost. And I've seen different things about this whole bracelet. Some people are saying, like, Tabitha has replaced Miranda and da-da-da. And I don't know. I think there are some similar connections. But I think maybe she made this bracelet for Jim X amount of years ago. No, actually, no. My theory just went up and I was thinking it out. I mean, I do think it's possible that the bracelet that she found in town. Actually, no. No, there's nothing that makes sense. I can't. I'm trying to wrap my hand around it. And if you do, when it comes out, whatever it is, it's gonna be disappointing because it's not exactly what you're thinking. But I don't know. She's like, this is her bracelet. She knows it's her bracelet. Just like in season 1 when she told Jim, like, yo, no, remember I made my mistake right here? Like, this is my bracelet. This isn't a bracelet that looks like my bracelet. It's the bracelet I made for you. So that's when Tabitha starts getting suspicious. She thinks like, okay, maybe I'm still in the town and it's fucking with me. And that's when she's like, okay, what happens if I get out of this car? Like, you know, she's like, what will happen? Why I wake back in the hospital, wake back in the town? Like, and Henry's like, what are you talking about? Like, da-da-da. And she's like, see, this was your mistake. You went too far with this damn bracelet, okay? You went too far. And then he starts getting mad at her. He's like, no, I haven't heard anything about my son or my wife all these years. You come and you're telling me all this. We're not just going to end it here because you're freaking out. Like, no. So he sort of kidnaps her and, like, starts continuing to drive to the park. And she's freaking out. And then boom, they get hit by a car. It was like, boom, cut to hit by a car. And next thing you know, she wakes up. They're in the ambulance already. And before she's telling them, like, oh, I need to get out. And they're like, yeah, we know you from the hospital. Da, da, da. I'm like, okay, is there only one little hospital there? Whatever. I mean, you know, maybe it's a small town, Camden, Maine. But because they're like, yeah, we the hospital was looking for you. We were worried about you. You left. Da, da, da. And the ladies talk about her lunch pill. And next thing you know, they stop. And the driver's like, yo, there's a tree in the road. And Tabitha's like, no. Oh my gosh. So good. So good. I have so many theories. I mean, I had theories, but then people talked about what they saw on the scenes for next week. I won't bring it up here. So it kind of ruined my any theories I had, which is like, damn it, I wish I didn't even read that. Not that it was a spoiler, but kind of, because I could have played around with my theories. I would have been wrong, according to what they said is the previews for next week. But I would have still had fun, like, kind of talking about, like, oh, this is what I think is happening, blah, blah, blah. So at this point, we would just wait for next week and see what's going on with the town. But great episode. Great. It was fun watch. Easy watch. I have it on now, and actually I was kind of getting scared when the dead monster guy that was grabbing Jade. I'm like, okay, I can't watch this right now while I'm talking about it. It's too creepy. But that is all I got. It was another quick pod. I appreciate you guys listening. Remember, if you want to be part of the pod, hit us up. Hit me up. host@theverdictsend.com. That is HOST@theverdictsend.com. You can also follow our Verdicts In feed on Facebook or Twitter, X or whatever. And because we are covering American Sports Story, the Aaron Hernandez story, they did take a lot of liberties in this story. They took a lot. I was like, well, what we got to fact check, you know, like what is real, what is not. There's a lot that they took and they just kind of made up, but it's still an interesting storyline, especially if you're not familiar with the case, such as I was not. I mean, I heard of Aaron Hernandez. I was aware of what he was accused of, but other than that, I didn't follow that story. So, you know, if you're a fan of the American crime storylines or a fan of Ryan Murphy, I highly recommend watching it. It comes on FX on Wednesdays, or it comes on Tuesdays, and then it's on Hulu on Wednesdays. So we watch on Hulu on Wednesdays, and then the pod comes out like Fridays. So hit us up there, same email.